was never in love, never in love. You can't break my heart. You can't break my heart. What are you going to be talking about tonight? Energy, obviously. Huh. Okay. I'm trying to get a little bit of a download of what the chit chat portion is going to be about. And they're having me draw like UFOs that are just like waving, like a drive-by. Hello, how are you? Hi, how are you guys? Sorry, my lighting sucks. I just moved into a new place that is struggling right now with its electrical system. It's a whole thing. But I figured I'd go on tonight. I felt compelled to go on and just hang out, talk about the energy, talk about UFOs, aliens, and maybe even do a little bit of galactic channeling because I've been in the galactic channel all day working with clients. If you guys are kind of new to that idea, I basically reach out and work with any of your ET or higher dimensional guides just to see if there's any information they want to bring you, anything they want you to know. The guides that I work with range. I started working initially, I think the first ones, well, Micaiah was the first one to find me. He's in his own category, but like the Lyrans showed up, the Pleiadians showed up. If talking about like different ETs is kind of triggering for you, and I understand why it is for people, this is definitely not the right live to be in. I do lots of other stuff as well, including tarot, oracle, evidential mediumship. But tonight we're going to be very, very specifically working with ETs, and I don't even know if I like calling them ETs anymore because they feel like us and they feel like higher dimensional versions of us. How are you, Curious Musings? I'm like embarrassed with the lighting in here. It's so bad. The overhead lights only span that far, and the screen is blocking out a lot of the ambient light because behind me is a disaster. So do you guys have any questions? Is there anything you guys want to talk about in the chit chat portion? Is there anybody who wants to volunteer? There's a couple of very chatty Pleiadians around some of you, and there's some Lyran guys that are cracking their knuckles right now. The Lyrans tend to be very like proactive. Let's get shit done. Let's go. Getting supper for the kiddos. What are you having for dinner tonight? The Pleiadians are very, very like, I compare them to bubbles in a champagne flute. That's how they kind of feel to me energetically. And they're saying busy bee, busy bee. So if bees are a synchronicity for one of you, let me know in the chat and we'll dive into it. Or if you've been feeling particularly like there's just a lot of shit to get done, but they're saying something about being motivated to get it done. Sandwiches. Happy solstice! Oh my gosh, I have to do a Capricorn update for the Patreon tomorrow. Oh, I see so many familiar faces here. How are you guys? How's it going? How is the energy of the end of 2024 treating you? Because for me, when it comes to the collective, hi Remy, when it comes to the collective energy, I know this sounds insane. And I did mention to my friend that I probably could stand to visit my therapist at the moment. I'm having a blast. Because at this point, everything I'm seeing in the collective energy literally feels like a fucking comedy to me. It like last night I was reading about how, I don't know if I should say certain names out loud. I think one of my mutuals calls him Starboy. Starboy is kind of like intervening in global politics at the moment and superseding and overcoming another person's energy. And I don't know. I ended up reading the news last night and basically laughing so hard I was literally crying. This has happened a couple of times over the past month where like everything I'm reading that a lot of people are rightfully freaking out about, I'm laughing until I'm on the floor. I feel like I'm on the edge of something huge. I'm leaning hard into spiritual growth. Yeah, and honestly, guys, like collective download just for everybody. Leaning into, thanks for the follow, Carol Loves Crystals. Leaning into spiritual growth is not going to be optional for a lot of people much longer. And I don't mean that to sound like a threat. Feels like a threat. It's not a threat. I just feel like where we're going collectively, where everything is headed, spiritual growth, especially for people who are very resistant to it, is going to become like a necessity. It's going to be like breathing. It's going to have to become a part of life. It's going to look very different person to person. But my guides at the Galactics are already going. They're talking about how our ancestors, and not just the ones from this planet, are going to be making more and more and more contact with us. So like, what do you think those lights in the sky are? It's not the drones. It's the orbs and stuff that you're seeing. They're calling them our ancestors, our galactic ancestors. So again, if you guys are new, hi, hello. My name is Nimue. I am a professional psychic, intuitive, and spirit medium. I also work with a team of higher dimensional beings ranging from like the Lyrans to the Arcturians to the Sirians. They all found me in 2020. I haven't seen any, but I'm ready AF. I've seen some weird shit in this, like since I moved to San Diego, and I was seeing weird shit in the sky in Sedona all the time, which that was like kind of normal. Seeing it out here has been interesting. I saw one of the drones the first night I got here. It was like the V shape. It had like the blinking lights underneath. It was moving super, super slow, and there were a bunch of orbs like around. I didn't know what I was looking at until I saw some of the other videos on TikTok, and I was like, okay, so they're here too. I saw another set of drones like moving together and then pausing and splitting off. Thanks for the follow, Michelle. Smith, if they have any guidance on how to remember our gifts, I would appreciate it. They're saying, who says you forgot in the first place? There's something about a story. Let me turn the music down a little bit so I can focus. I like having a little bit of music, but the only music I have that's not on Wi-Fi, because my Wi-Fi, it's a whole, hi from Colorado. Oh, thank you so much, 88 DP. All right, so we're asking them, we're asking the Galactics, and I feel a team of them around right now. I have a little committee that I work with. I can't believe they put up with my shit. I really can't, because I'm a pain in the ass to work with, I think. You never forgot your gifts. The idea that you forgot is just an idea. So the way that my guides often communicate with me is through the lens of the stories that we give energy to, because everything is, and they said this in the telepathy tapes, which I thought was very, very accurate. Everything is a thought before it's made form. Everything is a spark of consciousness before it actually manifests into physical 3D reality. So when it comes to the idea, I've forgotten my gifts, you're giving all of your belief. Belief is power. Belief, think about belief as the fundamental energizing force of reality. I want you to think about it that way. So when you're giving belief to the idea, I've forgotten my gifts, you are creating that for yourself, which is divine in and of itself. It's a gift that you can even create that in the first place. We may not look at it that way because we feel like it disenfranchises us a bit, but you haven't forgotten anything. Everything you do in this reality is an act of creation, which is the gift, like capital, they're showing it in all caps, GIFT, and this is actually making me really emotional. They've been making me cry all fucking day today in my readings. It's been crazy. I had an Arcturian guide come through for somebody earlier today, and the Arcturians never make me cry. It's usually the Sirians that do that. I was like almost bawling, and just because of how emotionally charged they can be sometimes. Is that making sense, Curious Musings? Like, they're also saying which gifts, because they're saying you're being a little judgmental, because they're showing you like being they're saying nitpicky about what your gifts are, and they're saying you're dismissing, they're showing like a hill. You're dismissing all of this as a gift, and you're looking for something else because you cannot fully accept how, and they're saying beautiful and divine you are. Those are the words they are using for you. They're like, do you think about yourself as beautiful? Feel the word in your body. Where does beautiful live in your body? Does it live in your body anywhere? Is it an open feeling? Is it a contracted feeling? Is it full of color? Is there no color? And they're saying, can you let that, they're saying immersion. Can you let that sit in? I don't know why my voice just started trembling. So there's something going on with your throat chakra and the idea of beauty, being beautiful. Like I almost couldn't talk there for a second. Interesting. Also, guys, hi, if you're new here, once I start channeling, I start talking very, very quickly. Please feel free to interrupt me in the comments. It just might take me a second to get to you if I'm in the stream and if I'm going, especially when it comes to them, because they're very, very fucking high vibrational. Oh, Pixie Dust, thank you. Thank you. So, did I miss anything else in the chat? Here. Hello, 88. Diana, will Glenn reach out soon? I'm not sure. The Galactics don't really entertain questions like that. 88, if you want to come back to me during a tarot reading, feel free to ask that question. They're kind of like, we like to think a little bit broader than just those little things, but they are saying like, come back again to belief. Think about your concern. I don't know why my voice just started trembling again. So there's something, we are channeling with the Galactics tonight, Merchant. We were kind of giving collective readings, individual readings. I'm waiting for somebody with busy bee or bees as a synchronicity to show up in the chat because there was a message very specifically for them. Yeah, busy bee, they keep saying. Pleiadians talk faster than I do by like a lot. Those of you that are wondering, like, is X, Y, and Z, is this person going to reach back out to me? First of all, they want you to identify that question as a source of love, or it's coming from a source of love. The question of, I want this, like, any question revolving around a person connecting with you and coming back to you, being in your life, that's coming from a place of love. But they're saying something about shoestrings, like tying things up and binding love up in a package it does not belong in. Love does not fit in a box. Anytime we try to put love into a box, oh my God, it's this song. This sounds like them, by the way. I've been binging Bashar, so this is right. Nice. I've been seeing a lot of bee imagery recently. And okay, so Remy, are you open to receiving a message from, it felt like it's the Pleiadians very specifically. Are you open to that? Because I know for some people this is a little bit like, oh, I don't know how I feel. Because I don't know, I felt that way too until 2020 when they fucking descended upon me. I've been drawn to bees, but very literally. Okay, so both of you guys, because this might be for both of you. I don't know what they want to talk about yet. They just said busy bee, and there was a group of Pleiadians that wanted to come through and give you guys a message. Tammy, thank you for the follow. Let me see what they want to say. And there's two different messages. One's, what? Sorry. They do this thing where like they don't let me say the thing without feeling the thing, and sometimes it's really emotional. Remy and Curious Musings, this is for both of you, but Curious Musings, they want to start with you a little, like this is a little bit more heavy on the emphasis. Your son drew a bee this morning. Yeah, this is for somebody with kids, this first message. They're saying 2 of 3. So there's going to be 2 that come through first and then the third message. Can I sit with this for a second? Let yourself off the hook. They're showing a meat hook. And they're showing versions of you. This is for the 2 of you with kids. Remy, this might be a little bit for you too. There's like literally like this is kind of gross, but it looks like skin, like you, like a sack of flesh basically, and you're hanging it on hooks, and you're just standing there in your light form, and you're confused because you're like, when I'm in this skin, all I can see is like who I'm supposed to be and who I'm not versus who I am. Let yourself off the hook. Get yourself off that meat hook of judgment, suspension. There's also something about, and this is coming from somebody's dad. Somebody's like, or the parental side of the family and the upbringing. This is so strenuous on my body. I feel like I'm in a vice grip. I feel like I'm being squeezed like a lemon, and I don't want to be, because I need that juice. I need that ability to be in flow. They're saying stop trying so fucking hard, because what you're trying to do is burn yourself out, and you don't recognize it as that, but that's what you're trying to do in being successful, striving, all of this. Okay, is this making sense? Let yourself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. And they're saying, remember who you are, and come back to that idea of where does the concept I'm beautiful live in your body? What does that evoke for you? Where does it live? What color is it? What does it taste like? You're in the medical field. Has you in tears. Okay, yeah. Like I said, I almost started bawling before that message came out. They've stopped letting me get away with like just saying the thing without saying it out loud. What's the second message? Those of you that are beekeeping, please tell other people. They're like, do that more. Like, tell other people to do it more. I don't think we have any full appreciation of what bees do for this world. Bees, they're saying, are a collective intelligence. They're all over the world. And the vibration of their wings literally does something to the like fluctuations of energy, wind, and everything in this world. And they're dying at insane amounts because of pollution, and it's just really bad. So like those of you that want to beekeep, start doing it. Like one of the first things I did when I moved into this new space was I bought a ton of pollinator flowers and just spread them across the backyard. You keep local bees. Okay, excellent. What's the third message? Remy, this feels very specifically targeted to you. What are you wearing? Remy, are you wearing something like a pendant? Because they had me grab what I'm wearing here, and there's something about your grandmother. I don't know if maybe this is your grandma coming through, because I feel like this happens every time I channel with you. She's a very powerful energy. Not right now. Okay, I'm trying a pollinator flower garden this spring. Wonderful. There's something about something that you wear, and they're like kissing it like this. I don't know if this is like a rosary. It feels like, you know how some people kiss the rosary or whatever? They want you to wear it. I don't know why. Things only have power because we imbue them with that power, but they want you to wear, and it feels like it belongs to your grandmother, very specifically. It's warm. It feels warm when I'm wearing it. Oh my God, channeling with the Pleiadians. It's a lot. Okay, I'm literally, that's what they do to me when I start working. Pleiadians are so high frequency, I sometimes have to ask them to back off. You've been into rosaries lately, and I haven't worn a necklace in a while. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Any questions, you guys, that you want to ask about either this process? You guys have any questions for any galactics that might be around you on your spirit team? Do you have anything you want to ask about like UFOs or higher consciousness, where we're going? Like, my team is fucking awesome. I work with a lot of, I've been blessed to work with a lot of different beings. One of my primary guides is named Dee. Her full name that she gave me is Anandaya, which I looked up means, I think, divine bliss and compassion. I can't remember if it's in that order or not. She's Essasani. She's like Bashar, but she always like reinforces and hammers in my head, like, I am not the same as Bashar. Like, I am not that we work in different, like, it's like different factions or different, you know, spaces or different. I've been thinking about wearing a necklace again. Yeah. Yep. And they keep like, every time you say that, like, mwah, 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 like they're can I keep channeling? Yeah, but I feel like they want they do best, or I do best with them when there is like a specific question or something that you want to ask. Those Pleiadians like needed to drop that, like that information for those 3 or 4 folks that were in here very specifically. I have the Sirians here now. So if you Sirians always make me emotional. What do you guys have? Okay, I'm going to try to talk about this without getting a little too triggery. You said I'm surrounded by a whole team. How do I talk to them? We'll get into that in just a second. I just want to get this message through from the Sirians really quick. Curious Musings. Please, somebody remind me, or Curious Musings remind me to come back to that. Okay, I need to say this with caution because it is a very sensitive topic. What I'm going to say is this. There's a couple of you. This isn't just for one of you. There's a couple of you in here who have had a bit of experience with, I'll just say self-harm. We'll just leave it there. You guys will figure out what that means. And they just really want you to understand how far you've come and what it has meant for, especially if you have kids, or kids that you take care of, or just youth around you, frequency-wise, what that has done to heal future generations. Okay? It's really important that you understand this, even if it's something, because at least one of you is still struggling with it in the form of alcohol, is what it feels like. Please don't feel that's like a bad, like, I'm not reading that negatively. One of you is still working on reconfiguring your nervous system so it ceases to be self-harm and it turns into something else. Oh, thank you for the follow, you guys. Thank you for Pixie Dust and Chelsmay. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Thiak. So it's okay. They just want you to know it's okay. They want you to understand that, like, when you reevaluate, when you look at what led you to those things in the first place, they're like, do you understand that was like it was coming from a place of, I have to be careful how I say this. You were doing the best you could at the time with what you had. And the thing is that there is a very twisted form of wisdom when it comes to various kinds of self-harm, because self-harm is a self-soothing mechanism. It's just bent. They're showing a mirror that's showing like a bent light frequency. So that's why they want you to entertain the idea of self-forgiveness if you haven't gotten there yet. Oh, I know. I'm going to be back a lot more. Well, hopefully, as long as the app stays up, I will be here more. If they do, and it's a huge fucking if, because every time I ask my team if they're going to take away TikTok, they just show me like a giant fucking Riddler question mark. I will be on YouTube. I will be on, unfortunately for a little bit at least, IG and Blue Sky. So please go, like when this is done, go to my profile, follow me in all the places. The live streams will probably be more on YouTube and my Patreon. My Patreon, I will be consistent 4 to 6 times a month. Do lots of stuff over there as well. And there is a free tier. So if you guys want to join for free, you don't have the finances right now. I try to post for the free tier as often as I can. So please keep that in mind as well. I had a reading. The person said I have a darkness around me. And honestly, I felt so sad after my reading. I hate it when fucking readers do that to people. That was an irresponsible, shitty reading. I've never once in my life, even if I have felt challenging energy around somebody, ever had the audacity to be like, you have a darkness around you. First of all, that's sus. The second any reader tells you that there's something dark around you, they are trying to rope you in with fear, whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously. Run. Walk out of the room and don't pay. Fuck them. Every single person on the planet has light and darkness around them, period. Full stop. Okay? Full stop. It's a way to make you feel low and sad so that you can depend on them for healing. That's why I cannot fucking stand readers that do that shit. So, same time this week. So, Kayla, you're going to want to look into the dreaming women. That's not coming from them. That's just coming from what I've been seeing on TikTok, my little corner of TikTok. Follow Ethical Psychic. I somehow am mutuals with her, which I feel very honored to be. She gives wonderful channelings, and she does it through the lens of storytelling. She has some like every time I hear one of her downloads, I just feel like a heart resonance with her. And she's been talking about that waking up at the same time. And she follows other mutuals that get more into that. Okay, Hillary, I want to get into that actually. I had a download today about insecurity and uncertainty, okay, because we are, and I'm not saying this to spook anybody, it's going to spook some people. I mean, I think you guys are probably already spooked. 2025 is going to be fucking wild. It's going to be fucking wild. I haven't done a full-on channeling with them yet about it, but they showed me one thing, and it's funny because for 2024, they showed me shoes, and in 2025, they're showing me different shoes. So in 2024, when I asked them what the main theme was going to be, they showed me people wearing 6-inch stilettos of all genders, just strutting and walking down the street and wearing like lashes and red lipstick. And the message was rise of the divine dark feminine, rise of the divine dark feminine. And we saw that all through 2024 in a big way, and it's still coming. When I ask about 2025, and please, I'm going to say this because I'm just, okay, let's just put it this way. If you already have high levels of anxiety, dip, because I'm going to get into some real shit, and I'm going to get into some real shit with as much of a filter as I possibly can. 2025. You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. They showed me combat boots, like multiple combat boots, like running, like they're trying to put out a fucking fire. Now, here's the thing. When I see those combat boots on the ground for 2025, I do not feel panicked. I do not feel afraid in any way, shape, or form. I don't even feel concerned. I feel excited. I feel excited because I think my hope, and they have not verified this with me yet because I think they're holding out until I actually sit down and go into meditation. I think it's class consciousness. I also think there's something going on with these UFO and orb visitations that are going to continue to escalate, which I kind of hope they do because that's going to lead to more class consciousness. Those orbs being there are a sign that we can see them. Please don't lean into any fear-based narratives around those things. That is there is decided effort by nefarious organizations that are trying to make you afraid of all of that. Please don't be. Those orbs are, we like them there. Okay, they're good there. They're keeping shit in check. So it looks like boots on the ground, but it looks like they're trying to put out like too many fires at once. And fires feels like beyond even class consciousness. I think it's the next level of spiritual growth. It's Neptune and Aries. Neptune and Aries, bitch. Which is going to be fucking crazy. Thanks for the follow, Hillary. Thank you for the bracelet, Thick. Thank you so much. And thank you for the follow, Sue. I apologize. When I start to channel, I don't always see the chat, so please forgive me. I'm not ignoring you. Thank you for the follow, Hillary. What was I saying? Oh, it feels like the next level of spiritual awakening in which people recognize how their belief systems and consciousness impact reality. Okay. Are the orbs boots on the ground? No. It's very human. It feels like a lot of very young masculine energy that's trying to do the right thing and feeling a little panicked because they're being given orders that do not make any fucking sense. Thank you for the follow, best normies. I'm really excited for 2025. 2025 feels fun to me. But that's me. It's going to be very, very difficult for people who are still very locked into the age of Pisces, who are still locked into the belief that the systems that were put in place to make everybody feel secure and stable, they're not going to be there anymore. And that's not a bad thing. That just means that change is coming. Jesus's first phone doesn't give a shit about me. That's fucking cute. Okay. So we just had Willow AI confirm parallel universes. Yeah, there is some speculation that the Willow, I think there's a combination of things happening. What I got about the orbs, and my patrons found out about this like a month ago. It felt like this was coming because they kept talking about a treaty. And then 2 nights ago, I see that there is like a treaty that was created between different world governments and the ETs about using certain weapons and not using certain weapons. And that treaty has been, let's just say, fucked with in a way that is very like, like remember what you said you do. One thing I wanted to say that I forgot to bring up is when it comes to insecurity and feeling like I don't know what the future holds, because the future is just like, every time I try to ask my guides about the future, they show me a D20. It's just like a roll of the dice, honestly, which is fun. D&D is very fun for that, right? Leave a lot up to chance and synchronicity. Insecurity can lead to two different emotions, okay? It can lead to anxiety or it can lead to creativity. And as I just learned, and kind of knew, but also like learned a little bit more about, neuroscience-wise, creativity and anxiety cannot exist at the same time. So if you are in a place of creative flow because of insecurity, like, all right, well, how do I use my creative muscle to get into a place of more flow, into a place of more trust, into a place of more generation? You don't have the space to be anxious. Thank you, Anna, for the follow. Whereas anxiety is very constrictive and contractive. So my advice to you guys, and this has been coming from them a lot too, over and over and over again, I heard it through Bashar as well, be as neutral as you possibly fucking can be over the next several years. And that's going to be very hard because what's keeping us from class consciousness, what's keeping us from this sort of like revelatory utopia that a lot of us know can exist is I refuse to call them the fucking elite, the scourge, let's call them the scourge. They're continuing to drive a wedge in between us, like red versus blue, man versus woman, straight versus queer. Like all of that is so fucking, and white versus black. It's all made up. It's all made up to keep them out of our perception. Here's the thing about perception: where you point your perception expands. When enough people point their perception to class consciousness and spiritual activation, that narrative doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. So like you see all these people on TikTok who are saying this whole thing with, let's call them Lulu, okay, Lulu, and they're using tactics that maybe back in the 80s and 90s would have worked to convince the public that like this guy is a threat to society, and all of us are like, bullshit. Those tactics don't work anymore. They can't work in this frequency because I don't know if you guys have noticed, we've jumped in frequency since 2020 in a huge fucking way. And it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going. I've been able to shift my understanding of anxiety to excitement. Yes. I can't pick one favorite. And now I have Critical Role's Campaign 2 theme in my head. Just going back in the chat a little bit. Pretty excited for 2025. Yeah, we went over that. Any questions for the Galactics, guys? I don't feel like I have any. I do have an Arcturian here for somebody. Okay, so I do have, if one of you is struggling, who is this for? Somebody with major digestive and lower back and mid-back issues. It feels like as a result of an accident, like I feel like impact or something hyperextending my like mid-thoracic to low back, and I'm feeling stagnation and stuckness kind of in my abdomen. And I feel numbness in my legs and in my feet. Is there anybody in the chat that can claim that? Because this message is going to be for you. And if there's more than one person, it's for all of the above. This hurts. This feels like impact. This does feel like maybe a work-related accident specifically. Could be a car accident too. If not, I will come back another time. Could be you. Okay. You were going to touch on... Oh, yeah, I was. Thank you. Thank you for the follow, Susan. Okay, let me give this to Hillary, and then we'll do the communication next. No, he's saying do the communication first. Hillary, hold that thought, okay? Because I'm gonna bring that in again in case there's another person that needs to come in here and hear it. As far as how to communicate with them, it really depends on who you are as a person, because it depends on your belief systems around this. The way I talk to them, I just talk to them in my fucking head. I just talk to them in my fucking head. It's a conversation I just hear in my head. Okay. So no, thank you. You're doing exactly what I asked you to do. It's if you can imagine a conversation with them, you are having a conversation with them. They live in the imaginal realm. That's what I'm just going to call it. It's like, they're saying it's more close, like adjacent to 4 or 5D. And when you're in your imagination, you're tapping into a higher dimensional field that does not have space and time involved. And you can tap into them that way. That's how they come. That's how telepathy works also. So I guess it's a telepathic connection in that sense, but there is a little bit of imagination, which is they're saying it's like the spice that you add on top of it. You can do things like automatic writing. You can do meditation, guided meditation, where you're introduced to them. Some people need that guidance to kind of feel confident in reaching out. You can use cards. I started, like when I started doing mediumship, like evidential, like wasn't doing evidential mediumship up until like 5-ish years ago. I was using cards. So there's always a starting point somewhere, but the main trick is that you believe you can do it. You have to, remember how I was talking about belief in the very, very beginning of the live? So does that make sense? Because the first thing they said to me at Curious Musings is, how do you talk to your dog? I don't know why they said that. They're like, how do you, and not just like in the cute way, like, oh, Jojo. It's not just like that kind of talking to dogs. Like, you know how sometimes you can hear your pets without any words. They're like, it's the same thing. Do I feel them up about 2 or 3 feet? It's I know I look up when I do it and I point up, but I feel them everywhere. It's not really like I can't really give it that value judgment. Cards have started to open up so much for you. Okay. This Arcturian wants me to come back to anybody in the chat right now who has mid to low back issues. It could be numbness and tingling down the legs. And I also am getting something about digestive, either constipation or just like slow digestion, just a lot of like stagnant energy, kind of like really just from here down. And it's feeling like even sitting hurts sometimes. I'm feeling pressure in my heart space, and I started to feel a little bit out of breath the more I tapped into this. I also want to make sure I'm not tapping into somebody on the other side too. Sometimes the channels crisscross. I haven't had an animal in a while, but I absolutely feel them when I have had dogs. Okay. Avery, hello. That's your best friend. Can you claim all that? Can you tell me more, grounding and growing? Are we starting to move into mediumship now? I had a feeling this might happen. Sometimes your friends are connected to these higher dimensional beings as well. Like, it's been really interesting when I've done like spirit guide readings for people and they come through as like a galactic being or a fae or an elemental, and they're like, you're describing my dad or my friend. But yeah, can you claim mid to low back injury, numbness, tingling in the legs and feet, and slow digestion? Can you claim all of that? Because it has to be all of that. Otherwise, this is for somebody in the chat that's experiencing this or has experienced this. And it's coming from an Arcturian guide, very elderly, old gentleman. The message is about breathing. The message is about, are you holding your breath? Because holding your breath is making the situation worse. I can take that for a loved one that's passed and some for me. I can myself. Okay, so I think she had leg surgery last year and had an impaction that put her in the ER. So take this as a message either from her or for those of you that are kind of like experiencing this collectively. This Arcturian guide, first of all, wants you to acknowledge your pain. And it could be the pain of losing this person. It could be the pain that's in your body, because they're saying you're trying to, like, part of the breath holding is trying not to cry about it. It's trying not to feel sorry for yourself about it, trying not to be angry about it as well. And that breath holding is not doing you any favors. Allowing grief to move is a sacred act. It is healing. It exists for a reason. Grief doesn't happen to inconvenience us. Capitalism does, okay? Grief is like a river. It's supposed to flow when it's there, okay? And they're saying that some of this grief might actually be able to be released if you start doing some really lovely, deep, like almost like diaphragmatic breath work from like the womb space, and even cis het men have a womb space up. They want you to imagine space in your throat. Arcturians are really, really good for somatics and mindfulness, feeling heavy in heart space. Yeah, I was feeling that too. You're allowed to be upset. Those of you who have either lost somebody in this manner or who are dealing with literally what feels like a disability at this point, and continuing to act like everything is fine and everything is dandy and I just have to show up to fucking work. I need you to understand that you're allowed to feel your feelings about this. Journal about it. If it feels too overwhelming, because they're saying for some of you it's going to feel like a balloon popping and that's too much, they want you to at least slow drip into a journal. Use fucking words that you cannot say out loud. Write it the fuck down. Say what you fucking feel. Okay. 100% that grief message is for me, because not great at moving through my grief all the time. Yeah. It's for a lot of you guys in here. Do you guys feel like I'm literally like, there's a lot of like, it's almost like there's a lid on your diaphragm that you're holding it down so you can't take a full breath in, because to take a full breath in would be to feel everything that your body is asking you to feel. Your body is your friend, even if it hurts. And I'm speaking as somebody with chronic illness and chronic pain. The only thing that's helped me heal from really long-term chronic illness, and what's probably going to help me heal, I have a major thing going on right now here with my teeth and my sinus. I think the only thing that's going to help me heal is just like full acceptance that sometimes, this is making me want to cry, sometimes this shit just sucks. It just sucks, and it's fucking not fair. And you're allowed to say it's not fair. I think there's a lot of pressure, again, because of internalized capitalism. Internalized capitalism is not your friend, to try to be tougher than we need to be, tougher than we are. So everybody just take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground if you're sitting, or on the ground. Just if you're standing, just feel your feet in your shoes for a second. He's kind of just standing at like this, very gently. Feel your feet. Just feel your feet and feel your heartbeat. Feel that blood, that life energy, that chi, okay? If it feels acceptable, he's using the word acceptable. Just like a deep breath in and out through the mouth. Nice clearing breath. Some of you might laugh. Some of you might cry. Recently, my friend's husband was hit by a car riding on his bike and paralyzed from the chest down. This is probably for him as well, and for those of you around him. It's difficult for some of us. They're saying he's kind of coming through to be around people who are disabled. I know I use that in quotes because it is a real thing. I'm not trying to invalidate disability, but I think there's so much stigma around the word. He's saying that some people's greatest ability is in their disability. If you want that as a narrative, if you want to take it. They're saying for those of you that are feeling like overwhelmed, go have some water, go shake it out a little bit, have some water, have some tea, hand over the heart. Nice and lovey. I'm feeling so ungrounded. I have fibromyalgia. I have fibro too, babe. It is, people do not fucking get it. Like, and I'm not saying that as like I'm better than you because I have fibro. The folks who don't have fibro, you guys do not fucking understand how debilitating this fucking condition is. It's like a migraine in your entire fucking body. Like, there have been times where I've had flare-ups so bad that getting up to pee takes me like 10 minutes. And I'm like moaning and crying the entire time because my body hurts that bad. Thank you for the follow, Patsy. So again, I feel like this Arcturian guide, this very elderly, gentle sort of energy. Arcturians, well, I shouldn't say they're all gentle. Some of them are intense, but this guy is very like, y'all are allowed to hold space for whatever you need to hold space for. Some of you need to do more like tummy rubs, like more clockwise, always clockwise in the stomach. And just give a little bit of attention and somatic awareness around what it feels like. And they do, if it's possible, they want it to be like on your, like skin to skin, okay? What is the sensation? What happens when I put my hand on my stomach? I know some of you are going to immediately contract. Some of you are immediately going to pull back from it. And he's like, that's okay. That's fine. Notice it. Ask that sensation questions. I think the most valuable tool, you guys were talking about gifts earlier. I think the most valuable gift we can develop, especially moving into 2025, 2026, is curiosity. Speaking of curious musings, curiosity is a vital asset to healing, to creativity, to connecting with each other, to, they're saying, he wants me to use the word ascending consciousness. Curiosity is it. Curiosity is a very neutral to positive energy. It can look at everything without the lens of this is good, this is bad, this is black, this is white. Things just are. And I think that's why he's coming in and talking about like chronic pain, illness, grief. Like, it's okay to just get curious about those things. Have you guys ever gotten curious about grief before? Because it's amazing. Like, grief to me is one of the most divine frequencies you can be in. And I know that can sound very, what's the word? Invalidating, because certain parts of grief are extremely debilitating. But there was this one time, just to use myself as an example, I got curious about grief from I'll just call it a timeline collapse back in 2016. My life as I knew it ended. And it felt very, very, very unfair. I lost a community that I had been a part of for over 15 years for calling out a sexual predator in my community who I was romantically involved with for a long time. It was a mess. And I was in the grief cycle of it being a loss. Counterintuitive is a great word for it. Yeah. I was in the loss cycle, right? So there's different cycles to grief. There's the loss cycle, right? Like, I've lost this, I don't have this anymore. And there's that wanting, that yearning, that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of groundlessness, that feeling of being untethered or being unanchored. And it had been years. Like, sometimes I've told a lot of clients, especially doing mediumship, like, there will be days where you just can't. Like, it could be 20 years since the passing of this person. And one day you're just on your fucking knees. And even as a medium, even as somebody who talks to my friends who have crossed over, not infrequently, there will be days where like an anniversary happens or like I'll hear a song, I'm on the fucking ground. It's love. It's a force. It's like a waterfall. It's like a fucking tsunami of love that needs to like be expressed. On the other side of that, on the other side of the loss part of grief, is gratitude. Because what ended up happening to me, and this shit always happens to me in the fucking shower, because I do believe water is like a conduit for like spiritual downloads and reprogramming. I was still crying, like I was still sad about it, but I was like, you know what? I got to know those people for that 15 years. I got to be a part of that community. I got to have the memories that I do, which are absolutely insane. Like, I really, people have told me I should write a memoir because of some of the crazy adventures I've been on, the crazy experiences I've been on, many of them on alterance. and the things that happened with those. And it was this crazy flip. It was like something turned over from the, I feel bad for myself, I've been victimized by this, to I got to experience this. And it was still grief. So I'm just telling this to you guys, that there's a reason to feel your grief, because the more you allow yourself to let it move, it will transform. Movement is transformation, okay? Woo! I've got maybe one more big download for you guys. Is there anybody, the Lyrans? Oh, guys, the Lyrans. Okay, if those of you are in the chat don't do well with tough love, the Lyrans have no chill. They have no fucking chill whatsoever. They're very like, get off your ass and do it kind of energy. If that's not your thing, and you don't want to be in that energy, you might want to come back at a different time. I work in death, and I always say the way to deal with grief is to approach it alchemically beautiful. Yeah. And to me, crying specifically is alchemy. It pulls salt out of us. It pulls density out of our bodies. I can't remember who taught me that. Like that wasn't an original thought I had, but like somebody was like, yeah, no, it literally like removes like weight out of your body, makes you, and that's alchemy. It's like transformation, it's transmutation. And grief is so natural. And again, the only reason we have such, I think, a negative view on grief is because of fucking capitalism. Like capitalism doesn't give, at least in this country, I don't know, because the United States is a prison for a lot of us. It's interesting too, like the Matryoshka doll of imprisonment in this country. The actual prison system, which is capitalized. We have more people in prison in the United States than any other country does in the entire world. We're also imprisoned by the capitalist system. We don't get healthcare. We can't. This whole dental thing that's been happening to me, I had to have a conversation with myself last night about like, yeah, you might have to, like, literally, I've had to go to the ER so many times. I've had to max out multiple credit cards to deal with this very normal, this kind of shit happens issue. And I just had to be like, look, the most important thing is taking care of your body. You'll figure out the finances when you can. It's just going to have to be what it's going to be. But it's a fucking prison. Like, people should be allowed to be sick. People should be allowed to take time to grieve a loved one or a pet or something in their body not working the way that they want them to. It's insane. Like it's torture. I've been seeing a lot of people on Class Consciousness TikTok talk about this, how like capitalism tortures us. It tortures you. Think about just even like getting somebody on the fucking phone to talk to somebody. But healthcare is torture. You have to pray and hope that your body will be validated by a bunch of people who don't even fucking know you or who are not doctors or medical staff. Thanks for the follow, Bob's Dragons. We're forced to go to work and suppress it. That's why so many of us are sick. They're like, where do you think cancer comes from? It's an overgrowth. It's an overgrowth of hunger to express what you can't. That's a lot of it. It's not expressing yourself. It's not being allowed, feeling. They're saying it's a belief though. Ooh, they're coming back in with, this is the Lyrans now. They're coming in with the accountability. They're like, their term is like, we're back on our accountability bullshit again. So, okay, here's the thing about how consciousness works. And I said this at the beginning, and the Lyrans are kind of coming in to bookend this. What you believe in matters. It will create your reality. Yes, we are co-creating with other people. Yes, sometimes because of free will, we intersect with energies that are not in alignment with ours, and we have to take accountability to protect ourselves to the best of our ability. Believing that you're not allowed to have certain things, like we're conditioned very early that you have to work for money. I always remind people when it comes to abundance manifesting that the richest people in the world don't work. Do you think Elon Starboy has what he has because he's been hard at work? Salt of the earth? Are you kidding me? He's an excellent manifester. I hate to give him that, because manifestation works no matter what alignment you're at. You could be lawful evil, lawful good. It does not fucking matter. Everybody manifests. Everybody has, no matter where you are in the world, what your gender is, what your race is, everybody has the same ability to manifest. Some people are just very good at it because, especially narcissists, I hate to say this, because narcissists don't fear anything. They don't fear consequences. They don't believe that they're above reproach. They believe that they deserve everything. Why do you think that's this is what we're hacking, and this is what they don't want you to fucking know. Not to sound like a total conspiracy theorist, what they don't want you to know is that you can have whatever you want. But for some folks who have been disenfranchised their entire life, that means having to heal all the bullshit that taught you otherwise first. That's why manifestation journeys can be so fraught and they don't teach you that. So please don't, especially if you are in a marginalized community in any way, shape, or form, don't take manifestation advice from a cis-het white dude. Don't do it. Because I did that and I fucked myself over so badly. I went through that so you guys don't have to. And no disrespect to the guy who was teaching it either, because he's not a bad person. I just needed to hear how to do it from somebody who's had a significant amount of trauma in their life first. So, my 88-year-old dad needs a pacemaker and he was denied today by Humana. Document it, go on TikTok, get loud about it. We need to be, one of the other big things that's coming through for 2025 is a massive throat chakra activation for the collective. And that is going to lead to a third eye explosion. And it's going to be wacky. 2026 feels like the third eye shit, especially 2027 is the crown. 2027 is going to be a crazy fucking, that might be singularity shit. Might be a little early for that, we'll see. Completely just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, talk about shit. Like use your fucking voice, especially if they try to silence us, use your voice more. My guides were saying in a download on my Patreon that it's going to be very, very important to start talking to your fucking neighbors. Talk about what you're seeing on TikTok. Because like the people that are on this app are in one reality. The people that are not on this app are in a completely different reality. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. I see a lot of TikTok elitists on here. I sometimes float into that. It's very, very not wise to do that. Talk about what you have learned over the past 4 years on this app with everybody, okay? I don't care if you fucking sound crazy. Talk about it. The idea that insurance can deny a claim when someone is a paying customer, it's abusive. It's abuse. It's torture. It's murder. Okay? It's a disabling, like health insurance is a disabling event, period. Because even if they do approve your claim, you have to go through the psychological torture of wondering, am I going to go bankrupt because of this? I'd like to remind people, though, that Drumpf has been bankrupt like 5 times and he's still like killing it. So again, it's all about your beliefs around money and worth. And like, you know, that's again why narcissists are so good at manifesting and why they never seem to be held accountable and why they always seem to get away with shit. It's because they literally don't believe that there's anything for them to be held accountable for. That belief is what fuels their reality. Our role is to detach from their shit, because once you start to realize that no matter how hard you try, you cannot change somebody's reality unless you are abusing them into it, you get to create your own reality, your own video game, as Jessa Reed likes to say. Stay educated. Yes. Read books. I don't know what's been happening. Everyone in my life has been having health issues. It's activation. A lot of it's activation. A lot of it's burnout and fatigue, and a lot of it's COVID and what it's done to our immune systems. As woo-woo as I am, like as much as I love talking to aliens and like, you know, doing readings for people and stuff. Oh, by the way, if you guys ever do want like a personal one-on-one galactic channeling, please check out the link in my bio. My books are open now that I'm not in Arizona anymore. I was working as a psychic in Sedona for a couple of years and I moved back to San Diego for personal reasons. So if you guys ever want to do a one-on-one with me, check that out. I also talk to them every week on my Patreon. I typically don't do these on Patreon, or excuse me, on TikTok, but they wanted me to come on tonight. They were like kind of shoving me into it. So I'm raging. He asked his doctor, so I'm just supposed to die. Yeah, no, right? Make it loud, like make a TikTok about it. Those TikToks have been getting a lot of traction, and the more pressure builds against these companies, the more they have to act they're not invincible. They're not fucking invincible, as Lulu has taught us, right? They're not invincible. That's another belief that we have to get over. That's why I refuse to call them the elite. Words have magic, words have power. When you are calling somebody like that, somebody who makes their wealth off of the suffering and death of other people, and you call that person elite, what are you doing? You're giving that person that what? Elite means refined and the best at what they do. And I guess you could say they're the best at what they do, which is exploitation. But I think elite is a beautiful word, and they don't deserve. That's why I'm calling them the scourge. Ghouls is another one I really like to use. I recently got out of a relationship with a narc, and I've been asking how is she getting away with everything, because they don't, it's the whole Teflon Don thing, right? It's because the belief is so strong in that person, the faith in themselves is so strong, they manifest their reality that way. Collectively, though, here's the thing, collective consciousness is stronger than individual consciousness to a certain degree. So we collectively have to change our minds that these people will just get away with everything and that there's no justice in this world. Like I hear that so often on TikTok. There's no justice. There's no justice. Okay, well, you're giving more energy to that belief system. Okay, then there's not going to be justice. Humans in this 3D world, which is a world of polarity, we need a good and a bad. Like that's what polarity is like categorizing things into two different categories. And what we're moving into is a little bit more blurry. And I think that's why class consciousness is so important, because it sees beyond that divide. I think it's a lot of insecurity also, and they disguise it with an alter ego that's confident, but that's still a belief because they believe in that alter ego. They give energy to that alter ego. Pluto has been in Aquarius for 5 fucking minutes. And we have UFOs. We have AI that can break space and time, apparently. We have Lulu, class consciousness on the rise. We have the overthrow of several different governments, including our own, by the way. That's also happening. And again, I don't know why I find it so funny, because it's not funny. I know on paper what's happening in our country right now is not funny, but to me it's fucking funny. Like it just, because it feels like theater. All of this feels like a fucking movie. That's my belief, that this is like a movie that we're kind of doing. And I don't know, I feel like either the writers are on strike, or I haven't seen the genius yet in what they're writing and in what they're scripting. So I'm going to hang out for maybe like 10 more minutes, you guys. Any other questions, thoughts, comments about the galactic stuff? Any questions for them? Again, I do this every week on my Patreon if you guys want to sign up and check that out. I do one-on-one galactic channeling readings as well. And it's usually either, because typically the people that call me for galactic channelings intuitively know they have spirit guides in that vibration. So usually I'm working with your team. Sometimes it's mine or a collaboration of both. All the world's a stage. When I don't know how to explain, a lot of twists and turns. The more you can look at this as a ride and as a game, the better it's going to be for your mental health. I can tell you that right now. I've been thinking about reality like a video game since I found Jessa Reed back in 2019, and my life has never been the same. It's never been the same. I take things so much less personally than I used to. My sense of being able to just drop in and kind of like be in that neutral state. I wouldn't have been able to have made this move that I've made, because Mars in retrograde does not fucking play. It's in my 12th house right now and it's kicking my ass. I would not be able to do this right now if I hadn't been working through the lens of this is just a game. This is just a fucking game. It's just a fucking video game. The tall blue ones, it really fucking depends. A lot of them show up as tall and blue. I usually see the Arcturians as blue, but sometimes the Arcturians are also like an indigo purple. Some people say it's the Sirians as well. It really depends, because you want to think about what tall and blue means in your own consciousness, believe it or not. But a lot of the Pleiadians sometimes can show up as tall and blue as well. The Pleiadians are fascinating. Ooh, this is like okay, I stimmed on this song for like days this year. Just a question, can you see if they want me to mention or focus on anything for your exhibition? They're saying the thing that you are the most excited about and the least confident about. The most excited about, but the least confident about. Does that make sense? Do they wear blue armor? That armor sounds like the Lyrans to me, but I've never seen a blue Lyran. But that, again, it depends. A few weeks ago, right before I fell asleep, I saw many, many beings. Was I dreaming? Ish. They're saying ish. Kind of. Maybe. Sort of. Hi, Nellie. Hello. It's the move is... It's getting there. I knew what I signed up for when I came out here. It just during a Mercury and Mars retrograde on top of a dental / medical issue that is still ongoing. It's been a lot. It's been a lot, but a lot of the stuff that I was kind of preachy about and channeling through, I practice a lot of the stuff that I have to. Kitty's good. She's been sneezing a lot, but she was sneezing before she moved here. So I was like, is it allergies? I've got my eye on her. She's not acting weird aside from that, but she's super snuggly. We super snuggles. Yeah, my recommendation to you guys, don't make a big move across state lines during a Mars retrograde, especially if it's in your 12th house. Don't do it. Just don't. I didn't really have a choice, but don't do it. Oh yeah, I am, without getting too graphic, I'm missing from here back. I'm waiting for a partial denture at this point, but I had to have 2 teeth yanked before I got here. And again, this is kind of gross, but like it perforated my sinus cavity, and now the infection is here and here. I've been on like almost 3 weeks of antibiotics and it's still not going away. So either I'm gonna have to go on another course of antibiotics, which my body is absolutely gonna love, or I'm gonna have surgery, and I'm not looking forward to either of those things. So again, trying to work on the like, don't feel victimized by it. Because, I don't know, dude, the more you feel victimized by physical stuff, the worse it just because like your body is doing the best you fucking can. I've been saying thank you to my poor sinus cavity. I've been saying thank you to my teeth. I've been saying thank you to my blood and my aura for just doing everything it can to heal. Very, very difficult, but like whatever it is in there just doesn't want to go away. And my body, I've been very tired because of it. Like when your body's fighting an infection, like my energy goes from here to here within like an hour sometimes. So it's a lot. That's kind of why I like to do the channeling, though. Anytime I channel with the Galactics, I get so energized. I know. Bye. Thank you for visiting. Goodbye. It's been lovely. You've overstayed your welcome. It's time to go. It's time to shoo. I've been blessing my water. Like I've been speaking like healing into my water and drinking it. Oil pulling. I can't pull anything right now because I still have an open thing going on here. I should though, in general. I don't. I have genetically bad teeth. My teeth are. I take such good fucking care of them. I just don't have good teeth. I just don't have them. Just is what it is. It's again like I'm trying not to like feel bad or sorry for myself about it because it's just not. It's not worth the energy of feeling bad for myself about it. That energy could go to a million other places right now. Especially as I'm trying to like rebuild. I have to kind of like figure out my new schedule. I'm doing multiple things. Like I'm doing readings, I'm doing live streaming. I'm also helping my friend clear out a house and partially renovate a house. Like I just have a lot going on all at once. And again, during a Mars retrograde, it's a lot. But I'm back on my B-Stars bullshit again. So that's been a really nice source of dopamine. And I finally got my switch set up to my TV so I can start doing that. I'm going to thank you. Yeah. That could be a collective message. That feels like the Lyrans too. Like guys, say thank you to your body. Say thank you to your fucking body. Your body is trying so hard. It's doing everything it can. Your body is not your enemy. Your body is not fighting against you. Your body is trying everything it can. Oh, that actually is going to have me segue into another practice, both that you can find elsewhere and also a version that I practice through a transpersonal lens. I don't know if you guys have heard of internal family systems or IFS, but this stuff is literally revelatory and groundbreaking. I have been practicing with my therapist for years at this point. I have started practicing it through a narrow lens. I'm not a licensed therapist, just to get that out of the way, but I use some of the techniques within IFS to help people kind of create a sense of soul retrieval in a way. So say you have a chronic issue, chronic neck issue, insomnia. I actually tried doing this with like this part of my body last night. I was like, is there a part of me connected to this pain that needs to have a voice, that needs to be able to say something? And doing this with my insomnia, which I've had since I was 11, was absolutely fucking revelatory. There were 4 different parts that came forward, and they were all different. They were all different genders, different ages, and they were all doing different jobs for different reasons. And with IFS, what you do is kind of remind those parts that might be acting in maladaptive ways. You invite them into understanding that the higher self, this is where I come through a transpersonal lens, is there to help. And that they don't have to do this all by themselves, and that there's nothing wrong with them. Like you don't do IFS to fix anything. That's something I like is very, very critical. And I have to remind my clients, like you don't do it to change or fix the part. You do it to listen. Remember how I was talking about open curiosity and like what a gift that is? You do it to stay open, to listen. Sometimes those parts just need to be heard. They need to feel felt. And that alone, what sometimes would take people 10 years in psychotherapy, within 2 or 3 sessions, you're done. You're done, because those neural pathways are connected and you're integrated more with yourself in a very loving way. So IFS, out of all of the therapeutic modalities, except for maybe mindful self-compassion, MSC, that I have taken part in, it's the most compassionate, most loving way, I think, to heal yourself, and the most interesting. It's really fun when I work with clients and a part shows up as like an animal or a color or like a body of light. Like it's every part is very different. If you're doing it with a therapist, they go deeper. They go into territory that I try to create a boundary around. Trauma-informed yoga, trauma-informed anything, y'all. Trauma-informed anything. Trauma-informed yoga sounds phenomenal. Like anything somatic, like anytime you're coming, that's why they were talking so much about like getting into your body and feeling where certain concepts live, where certain words live. Because somatic awareness is a direct line into presence and into consciousness, and out of the spiral of the mental space that can take you all number of different ways. Most of the time, all my parts want to feel seen and be heard. Same. I have one client I've been doing IFS with for a couple of weeks now, and her parts, now when we open up the session, like they all show up together, like they're all working together as a team, whereas before, like some of them would come into the room, it's like a meeting room that we kind of imagine, they'll like side-eye each other or they'll snap at each other, and like now they're a team, like they work together because all your parts are trying to do is help the system. It's your family, it's your inner family. It's fucking fascinating. So again, if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask. It is something I offer on my website. If you guys ever want to try it out, we could do a consultation first. You can always email me or message me here. Do the Galactics have anything to add around integration? Yeah, stop rushing it. There's a couple of different groups of them saying, stop trying to make it more than it already is. That's coming from the Lyrans. Stop trying to make it into this whole thing. Like they're saying something about the drama. Integration is not necessarily where the drama is. The Lyrans call humans out for the drama every fucking time I channel with them. They're like, you guys just love your drama. We do. We love our drama. I think that's why the Lyrans like talking to me, because they feel very traumatic to me. Integration is, the first thing I heard was slow drip. So integration is sometimes a very slow drip and strategic is what I'm hearing. It's a very long process in some cases. It's a very like intentional process in some cases. And you don't always know it's happening. A lot of it happens subconscious. They're showing a body of water and being underneath it. It's happening subconsciously. So that's why they're like, don't look for the drama. Don't necessarily even look for the evidence of it. It'll happen. Like, and that's, again, they're saying to come back to the body. The body is a massive part of integration. The mind, body, and spirit are one thing. Okay, they're not separate. They're all one thing. That's why whenever I, as a massage therapist, whenever I was working with somebody on the table, did this for 12 years, it really helped me to know about their life. And I wish I had been more trauma informed at that point, because I was young. I hadn't really gotten into that. But most illness, most pain, and even some injury has an emotional component. There's no separation. And that's why I think they were talking so strongly about grief and allowing yourself to feel, because unprocessed grief leads to a lot of problems and a lot of like stuckness. They're saying joint issues show up as unprocessed grief. TMJ is unprocessed grief. Rage, unprocessed rage can turn into literal vortices of, I don't want to call it negative energy to make it sound like bad, but like your energy just gets sucked into it like little black holes, and that can drain you of energy, drain you of vitality, and that can lead to all kinds of problems too. Yeah, some parts even protect other parts. It's amazing. And a lot of the parts that, if not all of the parts that I work with are the managers or protectors. Like I leave the exiles to therapists as much as I can. Like if one shows up in a reading, I typically pull a curtain around it, because I'm trying to figure out in the next year, do I want to go to acupuncture school? Do I want to get my master's in psychology? Or do I just want to continue to vibe? I'm really not sure yet. Julie, I can. I'm not doing evidential mediumship in this particular live, but I absolutely can. You can DM me, or you can check out the link in my bio if you want to schedule a session. Louise Hay, why does that name sound so familiar? Is great emotional and releases for pain. Thank you for the rose. Thank you for the rose, Julie. Yeah, somatics, my therapist that I've been working with for the past 3 years has really opened up a lot of this to me. Like, we started with breath work. We started with Wim Hof breath work, which I had never really gotten into. We now do IFS, we do EMDR, we do somatic experiencing, and it's literally critically life-changing. Like, things that I never thought I would be able to get over. Within a couple sessions, I'm like, I'm good. EMDR is some shit, bro. Both EMDR and IFS to me are extremely psychedelic. So if you're been thinking about getting into altered states of consciousness to heal your trauma without the actual psychedelic medicine, EMDR and IFS with a properly trained person are EMDR. I don't know what EMDR stands for. I can never remember. But the idea is that you are calling up a difficult situation in your body, as well as in your mind, and you're describing what you're feeling connected to it. And you're either, my therapist has me tap on opposite shoulders because we do it via telehealth, but some therapists will do this back and forth. Some use buzzers that go off in opposite hands. The idea is that you are stimulating both hemispheres of the brain at the same time. So you can basically bridge the gap between the back of your brain and the front of your brain, because when you are traumatized, that connection gets severed because you go into fight or flight. So basically, you are completing a circuit, and that's why EMDR can be very challenging in some cases, because you sometimes, not all, like I haven't had this happen in every EMDR session I've had, but you sometimes have to feel it to heal it. Like you have to actually feel the tears or the crying. Hold on, they need to have me do this little puzzle piece thing. You have to feel the rage, you have to feel the grief, you have to feel whatever in order to let it go. So I find it to be deeply empowering. You often sometimes find out, both in IFS and EMDR, that what you thought was the trauma actually is just a branch of the root system of where it came from. So fascinating stuff. Like you learn so much about consciousness and yourself and your ability to heal, really. Like humans were built for healing. Eye movement desensitization. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Reprogramming. All right, guys, any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns for our galactic friends? Again, say thank you to your body, give your heart a little bit of love, remember to breathe. It can take maybe one more question. If you have any questions for me personally, shoot me a DM, check out the Patreon. Again, we do have a free tier on there that I try to post content there as much as I can. I do 4 to 6 live streams a month. On the Patreon, you get new moon readings, full moon readings. Tomorrow I'm doing a Capricorn season reading. The community there is dope. I have a couple of patrons in the comments today. They're like family. You guys are the best. So helpful. Yeah, and thank you for all the follows. Thank you for the gifts, you guys. I'll be doing a lot more of this as long as this app is still here. I will be coming on here more and more. I might be doing, we'll see about mediumship the next time. We'll see. All right. Bye, guys.